boys. Well, while we were all blowing our fingers off and catching fish and not having fun like Cody, some crystal balls are flying through. This came shortly after the Trenton Henderson news, which we talked about on Wednesday with Gator Dave from Gators Breakdown. Phenomenal conversation if you haven't seen it. And we talked, Kevin Ford kind of got brought up of like, hey, like let's not panic yet. There's still some edge rushers on the Florida Gators board. And I'll let you, Cody, talk in just a minute because I know you already looked up Ford. You like this kid a lot. And this is somebody, again, a lot of these guys, and even Kendall Gervil, that could slide into that 5-star route. That was where Ford came into it, too, because I said, hey, does Florida have a chance of getting a 5-star guy now with the likes of Trenton Henderson moving on? Some other names were brought up alongside Mr. Kevin Ford here. And really excited to see this come through because Bama, I think, was in the mix for this one, and how they've been landing recruits. You got to think, like, okay, this could be a dogfight here. But Kevin Ford is pinned for Florida right now, and here's the exciting part. He commits this week. So it's not like we have to wait 2 months, or there's like, sometimes we'll see Trent Henderson. We had him crystal ball, and 2 weeks went by. A lot can happen in 2 weeks, and a lot can happen in a week. But at least it is happening within the next few days. But, Cody, tell us what you like about Mr. Ford here.
Yeah, man, he's going to be a good one. Very explosive, first step, long, everything you want in an edge rusher, right? And one of those guys that I think I texted you right after I watched the film. I was like, yeah, we got to get this guy. He's a stud. Listen, there's only a couple edge guys that are at the tier of what Ford is every year, let alone in this class. He's one of those guys that I pinned as a must get. My must get last year for Florida was Drake Stubbs with the versatility that he brought in that secondary. I felt like we had to get a guy like that. This year, it's Kevin Ford. I feel like we really, really have to get him. Actually, I have two. Another one on the defensive line. Hopefully, we can swing back around. He went to Texas. Hopefully, we swing back around, grab him.
Dog.
hey, those kids you only see so often. They're like no development needed. You know what I mean? They're just right in there, ready to go.
Bonnie is an absolute treat. I totally agree. Kevin Ford here, the 6'3", 245-pound edge rusher out of Duncanville. Duncanville, mind you, is where our very, who produced a great edge just a year ago, Mr. Professor. Do you remember?
Duncanville.
No, but who did they produce? What edge rusher? Little trivia here. Okay.
Colin Simmons.
There it is.
Yeah.
Keelan Russell came from there as well, too, didn't he?
That team was absolutely loaded. Yeah. They had 15 D1 kids last year.
Yeah,
out of Duncanville.
They got some dogs on Duncanville. That's just
D1. That's not the kids that went D2 or walked or JUCO that we don't know about.
Yes, or again, Kevin Ford, right? that were a year away from being D1. That were probably still very effective last year. Like this was your second string guy. Was a 5-star edge in Kevin Ford. So he's top 100 player across the board for most recruiting sites. Just outside of, I guess, 116, I should say. But top 18 edge, and I could see this guy climbing in the ranks. Again, playing at a place like Duncanville. Colin Simmons was somebody who climbed the rankings their senior year at Duncanville, too, because, again, just the talent they go up against, the eyeballs that are on them, they do some exciting things. So this would be a great pickup for the Florida Gators. And, again, adding to the defensive line that is already exciting with Kendall Gervil, Jarrell McCoy. Now you add in Kevin Ford. There are some other names like Jake Krull that are on that list as well that Florida is eyeing. That would be another edge to this room. If you're able to land both of those guys, this could be one of the top defensive line combination/combo edge rooms we've had in quite some time. So Kevin Ford, and speaking of like, hey, when does he commit? Well, on top of another one, we got 2 commits happening this week. What's that?
He commits to 12th.
Ford's 11th, I believe.
Oh, I thought it was the 12th. My bad. That might be my bad.
I think it's the 11th. I want to say it's the 11th. And then DK for Borka, the linebacker who we were crystal ball for the last week, commits the 12th. So those days are this weekend. So Friday and Saturday could be an electric one for the boys. If they do watch a party, we'll be doing one of those. So could be wrapping up again. What is an exciting week already with EA Sports dropping on the 10th. Then we have this on the 11th and the 12th. You're going to be seeing a lot of us, hopefully, for good reasons this entire week. Because obviously we have our show tomorrow and on Wednesday. So keep our eyes and ears peeled for these two guys. I think Jake and a few others that are on Florida's board are looking to commit later in the season alongside Valid Sone, who is the other defensive line. If they're able to do, here's, I think, like the perfect picture for Florida. the perfect target on the defensive line. They already got the 2 guys. They lost Jameer Perez this week. That was our only firework this past weekend on 4th of July, is that Jameer Perez did flip from Florida to Ohio State, which we talked about on the show a couple times. It was kind of, the writing was on the wall. He's staying in Ohio State. So our average class went up. He was one of our lowest rated recruits, but at the same time, we did lose a depth piece. So you can go after somebody else now. So now you've got Kendall Gervil, Drayla McCoy. If they're able to secure Kevin Ford, you're able to secure Valsone, and then you get also Jake Krull. By God, I mean, you just recruited an elite level of a defensive line / edge room heading into next year. And again, that safety room is still shaping up to be something incredible too, something definitely to keep an eye on. And again, the linebacker room, if you land a DK Fork Pay, if you're able to go back and revisit that Isaiah Williams, right? I mean, that linebacker room could be Malik Morris, and I wouldn't be surprised if they try to go for 3. They try to get 3 every year, and they got 2 last year because of the late flip from Adarius Hayes, but 3 was their target. That's what they were going after. And again, they only got, or 2 years ago, excuse me, I think they got 2 last year with Ty Jackson and the other kid, the 3-star kid that was out of Alabama, correct?
Yes. I'll say this real fast about Ford before we move on. I think he's even more polished right now as an edge rusher than what LJ McCray was last year.
Wow.
I thought LJ needed a little bit more work with his hands, and we saw that he was a 5-star, measurables off the charts, long arms, everything you want, power. I think Ford is a little bit more polished as a pass rusher right now. Just from what the tape says. Now that could be because he's also playing with 3 other dogs on that defensive line, so they can't double team him. Could be a little bit of it. You know, when you're on a star-studded defense, it does help.
Look, I think people might say, "Oh, well, you know, LG was a 5-star," but this defensive line class has been absolutely extraordinary. Again, compare it to when we talk about it. We talk about draft classes, like, hey, the quarterback class, this class is great, or the running back, right? This defensive line class is top of the line, and I think that's part of it as well too.
It does trend like that too. Like last year, I felt like the wide receiver class was electric, right? Not that this one isn't special. This one has some good kids. Not as good as last year, though. I mean, think about the kids that went last year. Some real killers. And then, you know, it's another thing too. The cornerback class was extremely, extremely good last year. That cornerback safety class was extremely good. I don't think it's as deep. Not saying there's not elite level kids, but the depth isn't there. So you got to go and get where it is.
And then it kind of skins off a little bit. Yeah, I agree. Quarterback too. Quarterback room is similar. I would say that as well too. Callie says put a
where
percent
it
number.
Is deep is running back and defensive line. You can go and get a guy and he be an absolute freak at a 4-star.
The running back room, which I always say is dime a dozen, but it feels like 1 through like 15, 20 are just, they're all dogs. Where usually it's like 1 through 3 is pretty good. Then you get your 4 through 15 are about the same. All these guys are really, really good. Outside that number 1 running back, Carson, I think, is something. He's good. Callie Barbario says put a percent number on sealing this deal. Look, A&M's in the mix here. So that's always scares me a little bit with how much money they've been throwing around. But I would put it at like an 80, 75% right now. I feel confident with. I heard Ford before the crystal ball came through. That was a name that was dropped. It was something that I heard as soon as the Henderson news went. It was like, hey, Ford is someone to watch here. And that was in our Discord, actually. And then the crystal ball came through, and I said, okay, that makes me feel pretty good. And, you know, we are coming off of a successful crystal ball with Kendall Gervil. But, man, these colleges, man, they're throwing money around right now, especially the Texas one. The Texas Tech, all 3 of them are slinging that cheddar around right now. So they're not one to toy with.